Good morning. This is Listen to VOA, Japanese English listening material site with transcript. Merry Christmas. I don't feel happy at all. Just the weather looks good. There are so many immigrants, but politics and administrative agencies that can't keep up. If you look closely, you can't say, Japan is wonderful. I feel my perception is not keeping up with reality. Among the immigrants, Koreans and Chinese are different for Japan from immigrants from other countries. Government increases consumption taxes, increases the burden on Japanese people, and foreign business owners who do not pay taxes will continue to grow using interest-free Japanese money. No matter how much the headquarters is profitable if it is constantly expanding. As a whole, they don't have to pay taxes for debt. It works to increase the number of migrants by hiring cheaply paid workers as dispatched workers. The dispatch company is also foreign managed, and the shareholders are also foreigners. There is no benefit for the Japanese workers. The money does not increase. Wages are relatively cheaper. As the number of immigrants, here Chinese increase. The burden of social infrastructure, medical expenses, education expenses, public security expenses, etc. will be borne by the Japanese people. No matter how much the government tries to move money around and send it to citizens, it does not actually arrive to Japanese citizens, but specifically to foreigners, foreign company managers. The good points of Japanese people, such as shame, humble, hospitality, harmony, and helping each other, do not come true to the self-assertion, individuality, cognate consciousness, and selfishness of Koreans and Chinese. Become a good prey. Contrary to what the Japanese would like, strong China will invade it, create their own territory inside Japan, drive out the Japanese, and take more and more places where the Japanese cannot live. Not only are Japanese islands taken militarily, but they are about to be robbed from inside. Chinese do not try to return to their home countries. If so, let's get into Japan and work hard to become a Japanese, but they don't want to be Japanese. They become Koreans and Chinese residents in Japan, strengthen their districts and assert their rights only. There is no common sense to say, obey the rule of the area where you live. This is also a proverb in English. When you're in Rome, do as Romans do. Chinese, outsider. Lie more selfish and use their words than Japanese with the words of hate and racism as armor to protect their bad habits from Japanese criticism. Also, human rights groups, liberal groups, and left-wing people who have left a strong sense of Japanese uselessness in the GHQ era are trying to break the goodness of Japan together. They have benefited Chinese and Koreans. Wake up early. Japanese. Japanese are being enslaved by Chinese. Uyghurs, Tibetans, Mongolians, as well as Japanese people, are largely being treated like them. You may have noticed that the places where they live in group, from the housing complex, from the shopping street, from town, from city, and from some areas. Even in Tokyo, it is hard for Japanese to live in a town where Chinese or Korean live, so pressure is applied, and not even a Japanese yakuza but a Chinese mafia dominates. When they get sick, they use the medical costs borne by the Japanese, and the Japanese have paid for decades and live on a small pension, but they do not pay any pensions, but one adult costs 3,000 yen a day. The child costs half price. 2 parents and 2 children can get over 180,000 yen a month. Of course, they pay no medical fee. On the other hand, the number of Japanese children who are too poor to get enough meals and who are difficult to go to higher school are increasing. After all, the future will have more Chinese than Japanese. Before that, Japan becomes like China and changed to a surveillance society. Points are scored according to obedience. Travel is allowed in descending order. Restaurants to be used or decided. And also children go to school. You can decide where to live. Freedom is taken away. Even Chinese, there is something like an ID card. And rural people cannot move to urban areas and do not have the freedom to live. If you oppose, you will be placed in a concentration camp, banned from using Japanese. And you must sing the Chinese national anthem in the room when you wake up in the morning. Your wife or lover is also in small camps, undergoing sterilization to prevent pregnancy. Receiving a hospitalization for a rich man who needs a transplant at the hospital, and when an organ is needed, you are suddenly taken and one of the lungs or the kidney is removed. A terrible thing is happening in China now. Facts are stranger than novels. The more I know, the less fun I can get, but it is fine. First, I eat breakfast. That's all, thank you. Listen to VOA.